Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome to today's live reading from Ramayana. We are reading from Yuddha at the moment. And we left that Ravan's maternal grandfather, he also advised him not to fight with an enemy which is powerful than him. Because you have persecuted the great rishis, the power of their austerity is now aimed at you. He was reminded of the immunity he received from Lord Brahma did not give him any immunity from death at the hands of human beings or monkeys. My dear grandson, Malivan, Raman's maternal grandfather said, you should heed my advice, for many inauspicious signs have already become visible, indicating the destruction of Lanka. Clouds are pouring down showers of hot blood. Our horses and elephants have tears in their eyes, and carnivorous animals freely enter the gardens of Lanka, crying out ominously in their dreams. The citizens see black women with yellow teeth plundering their houses and standing before them, laughing at them. Dogs are eating the sacrificial offerings, and different species of animals are seen mating with each other. Time personified, appearing in huge black form with shaved head, is seen peering into all the houses of Lanka every morning and evening. O Ravan, I consider Ram to be Lord Vishnu himself, appearing in the form of human being. You must immediately go and surrender to him and rid yourself from this impending calamity. Sarama continued. Ravan could not accept this good advice. Instead, he angrily replied, you are a rascal taking the side of the army. You seem very eager to glorify prowess of Ram. But what do you think of me? You must be praising the enemy because you are envious of me, or because you have been won over to the other side. Perhaps you are afraid of him. I can assure you that you will soon witness the death of Ram at my own hands. Malivan remained silent for a time. Then, after offering his respects to the king, he retired to his quarters. Ravan then made arrangements for Lanka's defense. He posted Prahast at the eastern gate, Mahaparshva and Mahodar at the southern gate, Indrajit at the western gate, Shuka and Saran and himself at the northern gate, and Virupaksha at the city's center. Then the king dismissed his ministers and retired to the interior of his palace. As Ram and the monkey army approached Lanka, they discussed how they could best besiege the city. Vibhishan said, along with my ministers Anal, Panas, Sampati and Pramati, I took the form of a bird and surveyed the military arrangements of Ravan. We now know how the defences are laid out. My dear Ram, I am confident that just as Ravan defeated Kuber by invading Lanka with 60 lakh of Rakshasas, you too will gain victory with the help of these hordes of monkeys. Ram then ordered Neel will lead the attack on Prahast in the eastern gate. Angad and the soldiers will fight against Mahaparshva and Mahodar at the southern gate. Hanuman will lead the attack against Indrajit at the western gate, and Lakshman and I will contend with Ravan at the northern gate. Sugriv, Jambavan and Vibhishan will stay in the center of our army to provide assistance wherever needed. I only need 7 of us to fight in the form of human beings, myself, Lakshman, Vibhishan and his 4 ministers. All others should retain their monkey forms, for that will allow us to remain distinguished from our enemy warriors. The sun was already setting when Ram, Lakshman and monkey leaders climbed to the peak of Suvel mountain to spend the night. From mountain top, they had a good view of Lanka, even though darkness had already set in the city's innumerable twinkling lights made it appear as if it were suspended from the sky. The leaders of Ram's army could also see that Rakshas warriors were prepared for the upcoming fight. The next morning, everyone was amazed to see the heavenly city complete with its array of flowering gardens filled with celestial trees and singing birds. Lanka was beautifully situated on a level peak of the Trikut mountain, measuring 100 yojans by 100 yojans. The walled city had an area of 20 by 20 yojans, and in the center stood the magnificent palace of Ravan, supported by 1,000 pillars. While gazing at the city, the great appreciation for its feeling great appreciation for its magnificence, Ravan sighted Ram sighted Ravan perched atop the northern gate with a canopy held over his head, being fanned by the servants. Sugriv ordered numerous monkeys ahead, jumping from mountain up top to mountain top to occupy the outer gardens of Lanka. Suddenly he too sighted Ravan, thus Sugriv impetuously leapt from the peak of Mountain Suvel to where the Rakshas king was sitting atop the northern gate. Gazing at the Ravan with great disdain, Sugriv announced, "I am servant of Lord Ram and I shall kill you this very day." Sugriv pounced on Ravan, knocking his crown off in the process. The surprised Rakshas king then grabbed Sugriv and, while uttering similar threats, threw Sugriv to the ground. Sugriv, however, bounced up immediately like a rubber ball and in turn braced Ravan. Throwing him to the ground with great force, a fierce wrestling match ensued as the two heroes scratched each other with their nails, covering them both with blood and perspiration. After striking each other with their fists and arms and wrestling for a long time, Sugriv and Ravan both fell down from the gate onto the ground in the area between the boundary wall and the moat. Then, jumping to their feet, the two kings continued fighting, exhibiting all their knowledge in the art of wrestling. At last, Ravan realized that he could not defeat Sugriv with mere physical strength. He called upon his mystic powers. Understanding this, Sugriv decided to abandon the fight. He bounded into the air and immediately returned to where Ram was staying. Sugriv was now feeling blissful to have performed such a heroic feat, and his followers responded by jumping excitedly. Embracing Sugriv in love, Ram mildly chastised him, saying, "You have acted foolishly, for you dared to do something without my sanction. Besides this, a king should never take such risks because the death of the ruler is a great calamity for the entire nation. O Sugriv, if Ravan had killed you, then I certainly would have slain him in retaliation." Then, after installing Vibhishan upon the throne of Lanka and Bharat on the throne at Ayodhya, I would have given up my own life for having allowed you to be killed in my presence. Sugriv replied, "After seeing the rascal Ravan, the abductor of Sita, I could not bear to simply ignore him." Ram said, "Regardless, you have courageously displayed your heroism, and all the monkey soldiers have been inspired by your fearless example." Turning to Lakshman, Ram said, "By observing various omens, I can understand that there will be soon great destruction, a slaughter of the leading monkeys, bears, and Rakshasas. Let us attack Lanka immediately." Ram climbed down from Suvel mountain to review his army. He then began his march to Lanka bow in hand, while the monkeys following him, uprooted trees and mountain peaks. Soon afterward, they arrived at the city walls, and Ram encamped his army outside the northern gate. Similarly, Neil took up the position outside the eastern gate, Angad at the southern gate, and Hanuman outside the western gate. Sugriv positioned his army in between the northern and western gates. Thus, the monkeys completely surrounded the walled city, awaiting the encounter. The Rakshas warriors were astonished to see a seemingly unlimited number of monkeys surrounding the city. With weapons in hand, the leaders fearlessly rushed to Ravan's palace to inform Ravan how the monkeys were sieging the city. Excuse me. Ravan quickly went to a balcony to personally survey the situation, seeing how the entire earth around the Lanka had become brown, covered by multitudes of monkeys. The Rakshas king was struck with wonder. For a long time, Ravan stood motionless, staring at Ram, wondering what he should do next. Ram then ordered Angad to deliver a message to Ravan. Leaping into the air, Angad quickly came before Ravan, who was sitting atop the northern gate, surrounded by his ministers. Staying a slight distance from Ravan, Angad announced, "My name is Angad, nephew of King Sugriv and heir apparent to the royal throne at Kishkindha. I have come here as Ram's envoy with the message, O King of Rakshas, now that all of your pious credits have been exhausted, I am going to kill you in retaliation for your atrocities against the Rishis. If you do not surrender to me at once, then I shall rid the entire world of Rakshasas. Either submit to me or come before me so that I can purify you with the onslaught of my deadly arrows. If you are unwilling to return Sita and bow down before me, then I advise you to take a good look at Lanka, for it will be your last." Inflamed with rage, Ravan ordered his ministers to kill Angad. Angad allowed 4 Rakshasas to seize him, for he desired to show off his prowess. Then he suddenly jumped to the top of Ravan's palace, carrying aloft the 4 Rakshasas clutching at his arms. The force of Angad's leap shook the Rakshasas loose, and they plummeted to the ground at Ravan's feet. Angad then violently kicked the roof of Ravan's palace, causing the top dome to crumble, while Ravan looked on helplessly. Having thus vexed the Rakshas king, Angad let out a huge, loud roar and returned to Ram. Witnessing Angad's prowess, Ravan foresaw his own destruction and began sighing repeatedly. Once again, Ram thought of Sita and thus commanded his army, "Make short work of the Rakshasas." The monkeys shouted in unison, all victory to Ram and Lakshman, causing Lanka to resound with their vibration. The monkeys then began scaling the defensive walls and breaking them down with trees and boulders. Ravan then ordered his troops to advance quickly, and in this way the fierce conflict began amidst a terrible roaring sound. The Rakshasas struck the monkeys with their clubs and other weapons, and the monkeys countered by using trees, stones, and their claws and teeth. The monkeys did not have proper equipment with which to fight the soldiers of Ravan, for Ravan's soldiers were equipped with sophisticated weapons, whereas monkeys could only throw stones, mountain peaks, and trees. It was only Lord Ramchandra and Lakshman who shot some arrows. But because of the soldiers of Ravan were condemned by the curse of Mother Sita, the monkeys were able to kill them simply by throwing stones and trees. Stationed atop Lanka's defensive walls, the Rakshasas pierced numerous monkeys with their weapons, while other monkeys leapt up and dragged the Rakshasas down to the ground, causing the earth to become a mire of flesh and blood. As Hanuman fought with Jambumali, Angad and Indrajit, Neel and Nikumb, and Sugriv with Praghas, rivers of blood created by the massacre carried away the slain warriors. Indrajit struck Angad with his mace, but the monkey prince deftly grabbed it out of Rakshas's hands and smashed it against his chariot. Jambumali pierced Hanuman with a spear, but then the son of Vayu jumped into the Rakshas's chariot and killed him with a violent slap. Nikumba pierced Neel with numerous arrows, but the monkey hero still managed to cut off the Rakshas's head using a wheel from his broken chariot. Ram, Sugriva, and Nal killed numerous other Rakshasas, and heroic army of monkeys inflicted heavy losses upon the enemy. During the fierce battle, headless trunks of Rakshasas and monkeys alike were seen darting here and there, adding to the ghastliness of the battle scene. At night, As night finally fell, the monkeys questioned those around them, asking, "Are you a monkey?" When someone was found to be an enemy, the monkeys attacked him with deadly enthusiasm. Throughout the fighting, both sides suffered heavy losses. Although the Rakshasas were more visible because of the golden armor, it was their nature to become enlivened at night. Thus, the hordes of Rakshasas suddenly attacked Ram in the darkness with great enthusiasm. Their loud roaring created a tumultuous sound with the giant monkey Golangula supporting him on one side and Jambavan's brother Dhumra on the other side. Ram pierced Mahaparsha Mahodra Shukasar and another two Rakshas with 6 golden arrows that brightly lit up the sky. Then, as the 6 Rakshasas fled for their lives, Angad smashed Indrajit's chariot and killed his driver. Indrajit, who was also injured, abandoned by his disabled chariot and vanished from view, while the demigods and rishis praised the monkey prince from their positions in the sky. We'll continue from here onwards next time. Thanks for joining. Hari Om Tat Sat and Hare Krishna.